All right, good afternoon from Denver 7. Shannon Ogden here, a day after yesterday's loss to the Raiders, 32-31, ending a 5-11 season. Some changes already at the Broncos, and it's not Fangio or Drew Lock. Is that man right there, the former general manager, John Elway. He's discussing his new role with the organization.
Be involved in football. So, it's a great opportunity for me to be able to move up, still talk with Vic as well as in the new GM and be a part of the big decisions and be able to give, my thoughts and my experience of where we're coming and then hopefully come out with the best decision there.
And as a follow-up, how attractive is this job because of the ownership situation? And also, would you prefer GM experience?
Well, I don't know. Let me answer the last half first. We're going through a list now. We've really been talking about it for a couple of weeks and thinking about it. And so finally making the decision to go ahead and make the move. And so we're looking at all prospects right now as far as a GM. So we'll, there's a lot on the list. And so we'll pare that down and try to find the right guys to interview. And then as far as, the way that ownership is, and I understand that, there's some question out there with ownership, but the thing is, on the football side, we've had every opportunity that we've ever had when Mr. Bowen was here. So, that had not really changed, because we still have the resources that we ever had, to try to put a successful football team on the field. So I don't look at the ownership situation being a big part of this, and the fact that we're going to continue to try to find the best candidate, find the person for that job, and get back to the same mindset, which has not changed. I know we got a ways to get there, but our goal is still to be back and compete for world championships.
Hey, John. A couple of questions for you. First off, you've been at the forefront your whole career, either as a quarterback or in business, and then as the GM and the president, in charge of the football operations here. How do you think you're going to handle kind of taking a step back and not being kind of leading the charge like you've done throughout your life?
Well, I've done that for a long time, and I have retired before. After I got done playing, I retired. So I experienced retiring, but what I was excited about is the opportunity to move up, still be involved with the football team, still oversee the head coach and the GM and be involved, not necessarily day to day, but to have input in the big decisions that we're going to make. And so that allows me to still stay in touch, but also, I had my seventh grandchild was born this morning, and it's time for me to spend some time with them too, and to be able to have that flexibility that, I looked at it as a very good opportunity for me.
Congratulations on the new grandchild.
Thank you.
One other question: will there be any caveats for the new GM? For instance, will he have to keep Drew Lock at quarterback, exercise Von Miller's option, or sign Justin Simmons? Is there any kind of list that the new guy will come in having to do?
No. I mean, he's gonna. We're going to be here to help him with evaluation. Obviously, when that new GM comes in, he's going to come in and make his own assessment of where we are. And I think it's going to be great for us. And in fact, it'll be a different perspective for us too. And so I think that, we're looking to hear, from that person to what they think of our football team and where we are and what they think we need to do. We'll give them our opinions. Vic's obviously going to be very involved with that as far as being the head coach and his evaluation of the players and also mine. But, there's not going to be, we're not dictating anything before the GM comes in or that he has to do this or has to do that. Those are all type of things that will be discussed.
Thanks.
Hey, John, this is the first one, then I do have a follow, but is this move just for 2021 or do you see this beyond your current contract situation?
We'll have to wait and see. We haven't had a chance to talk about that. Selfishly, yeah, I think there'd be something that I'd be interested in, but I think we'll take a peek at that and where we are. Obviously, that's not been talked about. So, as I said, it's a role that, I kind of look forward to be able to still be involved at that level, but just not the day to day. So, we'll see how that goes.
Okay, and then just in general, is this you also looking at the sort of the last 5 seasons and saying the Broncos need something else? Or, how did you look at this decision? Do you look at this as adding something you need?
Yeah, I think it was all of the above. Jeff, and the fact that, obviously with not having the success that we'd like to have over the last 4 years, to get a different perspective in here, I thought was going to be very good. And plus it's something I looked at it as where I was in my life and the work that I've put in, and, it's a lot of work this year. Has obviously been a lot tougher than in the past just because of everything that we went through. But, I started looking more at my future too and what I wanted to do. And at being 60 years old now, to be able to experience some life, but also, have a connection with the Broncos and be involved. So it was, kind of all of the above.
And I just want to make sure, have you had any health effects from COVID, or is that not related to any of this?
No,
Okay.
no, there's no health issues here. No,
Okay.
as far as I know, I'm in pretty good shape. So, but yeah, there's no health issues.
Did you cut a deal with the kids to have them stop at 7 grandkids, or is there an agreement to move more?
I know it. It's kind of funny how it ended up that way, but yeah, it was quite the surprise because she wasn't due for 3 or 4 more days. And so when I got to the office today, found out that grandchild number 7 was there. So, and she's doing great, which is, tremendous. And, I'm looking forward to it. There's nothing better than being a grandfather. You don't have to, it's much better than being a parent. You don't have to discipline them. You get to spoil them and they always like you.
Excellent, Troy. John, thanks for your time today. When you look back at this, because you revived the franchise when it was way down, you get 5 division titles, 2 Super Bowls, you win 1. The last 5 years certainly haven't gone the way you've expected. You're so competitive. How did you frame this then as 10 years in this job? Are you able to take stock and kind of see when you look back at it now? And what?
Yeah, Troy, I'm proud of what I did. And, I'm not, proud of what happened the last 4 years and the fact the way things have gone. But this league is getting tougher and tougher and tougher. And there's so much to it. It's competitive. And, there's just so much work that goes into it. So, yeah, I think that, I've always worried about my competitive side, and because I always thought it might get a little easier the older I got, but it doesn't. That never goes away, and it still hasn't gone away. That's why I'm excited about moving to the position I am and being able to still be involved, give my advice and experiences that I've had, and hopefully those are useful. But I'm proud of my career as a GM. It's what I wanted to do. I appreciate Pat Bowlen and Joe Ellis giving me the opportunity to be in that position. So I loved it, and it's time for me to make that next step, and I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, John, a couple for you. First, what were the conversations with Joe Ellis like as you guys kind of worked through this new move together?
Well, I mean, we started looking at the big picture. We had to figure out where we were as an organization and look at the last years of what we've been through and the different things that we've done. And so, but I think that as we talked about it, when it was not something that was on my mind of thinking that, I wanted to move up at this point in time. But I think as we talked about it, and I really had the 2 weeks to kind of lay out the pluses and the negatives and look at where I am in my life and really kind of step back and get a good viewpoint of it, that, it was the right time. So, it was more getting the thought going in my mind, and then kind of come to really go through it and evaluate where I am and where I am in my life. And, what we can also do to help the Broncos get better, because we got to get better, and our expectations are still the same. And so, I think with a different perspective coming in as a GM, I think that gives us, if we hire the right guy, that's going to give us a good perspective of where we are and give us a chance to get better.
And then Matt Russell announced he was retiring. Can you speak to what he meant to you over the last decade and that decision by him?
Yeah, I mean, he was my right-hand guy. He was I look at him as a good football man, a good evaluator, had a lot to do with the success that we had while I was here. And his history in this league was tremendous. And I think that, Matt had a chance. Matt could have stayed here and stayed on and had an opportunity to interview for the job. And so I talked to him on last Friday or Saturday night, and I think he did the same thing I did. He's kind of said, okay, I'm going to take a night and talk to his family. And I think, with the years that he's been in it for 20 years, that his kids are right in the meat of their lives and in sports and those type of things. And he really wanted to have a chance to be able to go to their games and be present there. Because Matt's going to always have the opportunity to come back in this league. He's got a lot of great relationships, and he's got a great reputation, and he's going to have plenty of opportunities. And that, that gives Matt the opportunity that if he does want to get back at some point in time, he's going to have that opportunity. But I think, I'm proud of him. I know he's excited about, being able to spend more time with the family. So, but I can't, give Matt enough accolades and the partner that he was to me.
John, I've got two for you. The first one, when you saw Ozzie transition into a role like this with the Ravens, does that kind of give you an idea of, oh, maybe something like that would make sense for me? And then secondly, will the new GM have final say on the roster? Will they have to work together? Do they report to you? Do they report to Joe? Do we know what that structure will look like yet?
Well, they're both going to report to me, but the GM's going to have the control of the draft. He's going to have control of the 53 and free agency. And so he's going to have that control. He's going to work hand in hand with Vic, as I did in the same role. And they're going to work things out and come to a decision of which direction they want to go. And I'm planning on being involved in some of those discussions, especially the big ones, to where, I can be helpful. But ultimately, the GM's going to have that control to be able to come in here and, see what he sees, do what he sees fit with the roster.
Oh, and then the Ozzie part of it, did you see
Oh,
that
I'm sorry.
as
And
kind of
Ozzie, yeah.
different?
No question. I think that, matter of fact, I had a conversation with Ozzie just to kind of see, and he was great with me because I've been good friends with him for a long time, and we have a great deal of respect for Ozzie, and I knew that he had moved up, and so I did call him and to kind of find out, what that looked like and what he was doing and what his situation was. And so I think, the bottom line is we both came out of this with, we all want to stay in football. We just don't have the time or the energy anymore to do the day-to-day stuff. And he had such a great career and he moved up and he seems to be very happy in the role he's in now.
Couple for you. First, how do you think you'll strike the balance of being the president and taking that step away while still allowing the GM to be their own person and have the final say?
Well, that's going to be up to him. Ultimately, he knows he's going to have the decision-making authority to do that. So my idea is to give my opinion and let him know what I think is right and wrong, but use my experience of where I've been. And, hopefully that can help him and help him get to the right decision. So he's still going to be in charge of that. But, I think, I would hope that someone would want to come in this role be able to bounce things off me with my experience as a player as well as a GM.
And second, kind of looking back, of course, Pat Bowlen tapped you to come back when this franchise was at a low point. So reflecting on it, what did it mean to you to be able to get Pat that third Super Bowl and kind of fulfill his expectations for you in this job?
Well, I'm so thankful to Pat. He's missed every day here and was a great mentor to me forever. And I was very fortunate to get to work for him and only him over my career. So to be able to get us back to prominence, get Peyton here back in 12 and then be able to get a couple Super Bowls and finally get another Super Bowl victory. I think that I'm very, very proud of that. And unfortunately weren't able to get right back in the hunt again, but our goal is to get back.
Yeah, John, thanks for doing this. You've been a big advocate for Drew Lock so far in his career. What were your conversations like with him when you let him know about this? And I guess you talked about giving advice to the GM. What will be your advice to the GM for Drew's future in Denver?
Well, I still have high hopes for Drew. I think that, I think he obviously is a young quarterback that's got potential. And I think he's got potential to be a very, very good football quarterback in this league and play in this league and lead teams to victories. But obviously he's very young and you never know how that reaction and how that transition is going to go. But I thought that he showed a lot of good signs this year. Obviously with young quarterbacks, you're going to run into inconsistency problems, which Drew had this year. But I think that, when I look at Drew's makeup and what he's about, he wants to be great. He wants to learn. He wants to get better. And so, I think that, Drew's got a chance to be a darn good football player in this league. Now, this offseason is going to help tremendously. Last year, you look at everything that went through as far as no offseason, new offensive coordinator, which is the worst thing that could have happened for really a young quarterback or really our young players, that it was very unfortunate what happened. It was, but it was tough on everybody. I realize that too. But, I think it'll be a chance for this offseason for Drew to dig in and work hard, which I know he will, and see if he can make the necessary strides to be able to be that guy.
Hey, John, Big hire for the franchise. What do you think the most important qualities are for the incoming GM, and how advantageous might it be if the candidate out there may have worked for the organization at some point? There are some that have had Broncos experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say exactly, Vic, but I think that with hiring a GM, and with the way the game is today, and that GM role is grown so much, especially on the administrative side, because as we've added people and staffs have continued to grow, there's a lot more people and a lot more management when it comes down to the management side. So I think, Vic, what we do is really go into this thing with our eyes wide open and see where the strengths are of different people, and then we have to make a determination of which the person with the strengths that best fits what we need.
Hey, John, thanks for talking with us. What can you take us through what this process will look like? Do you want it to be a fast process? Do you want to take your time with it? And especially in this COVID world now, will everything be done virtually or some in person?
Well, yeah, I think we want to get on it. Obviously, there's a lot of jobs open up there, so we want the opportunity to talk to the best people out there. And so, yeah, I think the idea is to jump on this fast and get the list together and start putting together, the people we want to start talking to at first. Now, with all the protocols, we'll still have to figure out the protocols, how that works, whether we do a first interview Zoom wise, and then as we narrow it down to bring people in, and depending on what the protocols are, we'll live by those protocols. And so, but the idea is to get started rather quickly.
Hey, John, I just wanted your thoughts on Vic and his second season and where you feel like he needs to improve the most heading into season number 3 as a head coach.
I think Vic came a long way this year. And I think that obviously when you don't win, the mistakes get pointed out and get emphasized. And so obviously there were some mistakes that he made. And I think he'd be the first one to say that those were mistakes that he made, and he'll learn from those, because Vic's a very intelligent guy and will adjust and learn from those mistakes. I think, when I look at what's going on and the different things that he had to deal with this year away from football was 10 times what he normally had to deal with. And so I think to get him back on a schedule, and I think we have to we have to continue. We had a ton of injuries, which put us behind the 8 ball also, and he had to deal with that. So, I think just the end of the year under his belt of understanding what it is to be the head coach, and also learning how to delegate his time and spend his time in different areas, that as he's done that, I think that, he'll get better.
Guys, time for a few more. Next one, Ryan.
Hey, John, what will you miss about the day-to-day grind?
I'm not sure yet. I guess I'll find that out when when I step away a little bit and don't have that the time constraints that I've had now. But I still look at it, Ryan, is that I'm going to be involved enough to satisfy my want to help get this organization back to where we want it to be, and we all want it to be, and the expectations are. So even though it's not the day-to-day stuff, I still, at this point in time, even a day after a tough season like this, I'm still excited about being a part of it.
Go ahead, Jeff.
John, I just, had you finished 13-3, would you be sitting here talking to us about this right now?
Probably.
You think so?
I can't say that for sure, but I think that I've been thinking about it now for a couple of years, and when the transition was going to be right. So, it's hypotheticals are always tough. I'd probably feel a lot better about being 13-3. We'd feel a lot better about ourselves. But I think on top of that, and really above that, Jeff, is I started thinking about what I wanted with my life and experience my life, and being 60 years old, I want to, take advantage of some of the hard work that I've put in and actually, go take advantage of it.
Guys, we'll do 2 more. We'll go Troy and then finish with Brandon. Go ahead, Troy.
Recognizing, John, I guess these aren't necessarily all your decisions anymore, but what is the key as you look at this team to getting back on track or closer to where you're playing meaningful games in December next year?
Troy, and we'll all look at this. You can look at the numbers. We can't afford to turn the ball over and not get turnovers. Even though, yesterday we got 4 turnovers and still didn't pull it out. But, I think that, the one thing what we have to do for sure is we got to be able to, we can't turn the ball over. That's one of the most important things in this league because it's so evenly matched. And so we got to do a much better job with our turnovers. Offensively, we got to get more consistent. Defensively, we got to play better. Hopefully we can stay healthier on defense than we were able to stay this year, because that set us back a little bit because of the health. But, I think that all those type things and then our players have to get better. I mean, we have to play. We have to have a good offseason to where our young guys step up, and we've got to play better football. And so, and again, that goes back with the consistency.
Would you be involved in the Von Miller decision? You talked about big decisions. Would you be involved in that, John?
Yeah, I'll be involved in that. And we'll see which direction. Obviously, we'd love to have Von finish his career here. And he's been a great Bronco for a long, long time. And so that'll be one of the big decisions that we have this offseason. But, the goal is to get Von back and have him end his career here.
Final one, Brandon Control.
All right, two more for you then, John. Who all is going to be involved in this process beyond you? And I saw a quote where Matt said he'd be involved as well in helping, obviously, Joe, but beyond that. And then secondly, will you advocate for the rest of your staff up and down scouting and personnel and all that for the new guy? Or will you say, hey, just give them an evaluation of each guy, but let them make all their own hires?
Well, yeah, I think they're going to want to know. They're going to want to feel for the people that we have here. And I believe we have a lot of great people here. And so, yeah, there's no question I'll be an advocate for our staff right now, because, like I said, I think we have good people there. Now, what was the first half of that question?
Just who all will be involved in the search?
Well, Joe's going to be involved. Vic will be involved. I'll be involved. Obviously, we'll use all the resources we can. Matt's going to be able to help us with the people that he knows in this league. And so, yeah, it'll be a team effort, and we're going to do everything we can to get all the information we possibly can and get the right guy hired.
All right, John, thanks for taking the time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. Quick ending there. But the big news there, John Elway, after 10 years as general manager of your beloved Denver Broncos, is stepping down from GM. He will remain president of football operations. After 10 years, he compiled a 90-70 record as GM. It's really the last 5, though, that have been a little tougher to swallow. Of course, after yesterday's loss to the Raiders, we end another losing season, 5-11. So that's 5 consecutive years the Broncos have missed the playoffs. And Elway admitted recent losses are part of his big decision to step down, on top of personal decisions. Number 7 just said that his number 7th grandchild was born this morning. He'd sure like to spend more time with the grandkids. So there we go. The search for a new general manager of the Denver Broncos begins right now. He did mention you don't need previous GM experience. So if you or someone think you'd be a good GM for the Broncos, please send your resume over to Dove Valley. All right, that's going to do it for now. John Elway steps down and steps back and steps up in his role with the Broncos. And that's it. So Denver 7 News at 4, 5, and 6 is coming up next. And we're always on the Denver 7 News on your app, and for Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And I'll see you in a couple hours.